There was no structure before, so having something that we knew was happening every week, it was refreshing.
Okay, we'll meet again in January. It's the same thing, nothing's ever been done. So, we didn't have a system in place, plus we didn't have anybody pushing us.
I tended to have my hands on a lot of different small, minute things that are important, but at the end of the day, they're not moving the needle.
Kind of a lack of structure of a planning process. I know, myself and the executives would sit around and shoot the breeze every week about what our plans were and what our thoughts were, but the operating system kind of gave us a venue to discuss that weekly and quarterly and really set our goals and document those and work towards achieving those constantly.
With us as well as any company will be communication, just with issues that we've had ongoing and who needs to solve what problems, and just the process behind that. And I think with having this structure, kind of helps reduce that confusion.
Probably 4 years worth of data that I just collected over time of things, improvements to all the different facets of the company, operations, estimating, different things like that. They just never materialized. It was all great ideas. It all had good content. It's just you can never get out of the weeds long enough to make them a reality.
We tried this system by ourselves, and it really didn't work until we met Cullen and kind of pushed us over the hump and get us where we needed to be.
Mainly because of growing pains. The four of us are very much involved in the day-to-day business activities, and we've never really set aside time to work on the business. We've always been in the business. So I think having us pulled away from the office, having someone stay on us, about what we need to be focusing on each quarter, even at the end of the year for annual planning, it just helps us kind of take a step back, get out of the business and work on the business.
We didn't have anybody pushing us because we were too much in the business, day-to-day business activity, 24/7 it felt like, and we never stepped back and got to the 30,000-foot elevation to kind of look and see what we needed to do. Every time we had meetings, our phones were constantly going off. We never really totally disconnected the way we need to be, in the way that you forced us to be by having these off-site meetings and quarterlies and annuals.
There was no structure before, so having something that we knew was happening every week and something that we showed up to every week with no excuses, it was refreshing.
I mean, obviously being a competitive person like anybody else, you want to make sure that your effort and what you're doing day in and day out for your team is giving you the best chance to win, best chance to be the best at whatever they're doing. But in the back of your mind, that based on peer review and other things that I've done, that there's other companies out there that are doing things that are better than what we're doing, and we're still, we're not implementing them. So that, it just adds another layer of stress and just the feeling as if you're not doing what you should be doing to lead the market and be the best of the best of what you're trying to do.
It does change how you think, because I think when you have a group in here with multiple people that are kind of helping you solve that problem, when you go to do a separate task on your own, you kind of look back at that event and you kind of say, okay, well, what would these people do? How would they handle it? And I would kind of link those together, and it would make me more efficient when solving a problem by myself.
I think the personalities clicked from day one. It's easier to go into meetings like these because some of them get a little heated. There's a lot said during those meetings, put out on the table, and I think the personalities of Cullen and the four of us really helped make that transition easier.
Well, personalities are always a big part of it. I think in our industry, we prefer a client that knows what they want, that's really direct and honest, and sometimes you might not like what they say or what they want, but at the end of the day, you know their expectations and what needs to be done, and that's a lot easier to deal with than something more ambiguous or just not as direct. And I think that's who we kind of look for in a client who we want to do construction and work for. So kind of, you know, coming in and having that same type of personality to help us mold and improve our organization, it just was kind of a, you know, it was just a no-brainer, honestly. It just made a lot of sense, and that's kind of how we're all wired, and that's kind of what we, you know, relate to, I guess, for sure.
The energy, you know, it was, we're a young company, and Cullen allowed us to, you know, get together quarterly with them, and it was like a breath of fresh air each time. You know, every time we would do our quarterly recaps, we'd walk out there just walking on clouds almost. It felt like we would just have a new energy.